One.
Hello, my name's Hector Villarreal, and I'm doing my class project to interview uh, a Christian leader in Christian ethics for Dr. Johnson in our leadership class that we have. And I'm here with John Lujan, and that was actually my first question. What is your name and job title? So we have established that this is John Lujan. What's your job title, John?
My job title, I'm vice president of Y&L Consulting, and I've been with them since the inception when they started. And also, I'm a recently elected state representative for District 118 here in South Bexar County.
Cool. So let's talk about a little bit about some background, some family background, education, hobbies, other jobs that you might be doing.
Okay, well, I'll do them in this order. I'll start off with the family. I've been married 38 years, and I have 5 boys. We have 2 biological sons, and we have 3 adoptive sons. My background is that I think of a servant. I've always, all my life, started my career and spent about 6.5 years with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. And after that, I joined the San Antonio Fire Department, and I spent 25 years with the San Antonio Fire Department before retiring about 10 years ago, only because we had started a technology company, and we grew from 3 people to about 10 years ago, we were 200 employees. And my partners, we had kind of like an unwritten agreement that, man, when we got to that stage of 200 employees, I would think about retiring. And so everything just worked out perfect. 25 years in, 200 employees. I retired, and then today we're about almost 600 employees.
Yeah, and those are my follow up questions. Like, how long have you worked at your current leadership position? You said you're vice president of YNL Consulting.
Yeah, I'm vice president. We started off in 1999 with just 3 of us. Me, my brother, and this other guy. My brother and Erich were partners, and they brought me on to do sales. So it was just 3 of us when we opened our first office. Exciting and fun, and just rapidly we just grew and morphed, and a lot of lessons along the way. And now we have teams of recruiters and sales teams, and now we're a legitimate, good mid-sized, getting into the large company type profile.
And so it's from 3 to 600 currently. And then let's talk a little bit about state rep before we move on. Uh, I know there was just an election right last week, and it looks like you won fair and square. Which is always a good thing, right?
Yeah, so I was actually elected last year on a special election, and it was the second time I won a special election. And at that time, people said, well, I made history. I'm the first and only, and don't want to talk too much politics, but I'm the first and only Republican to ever hold this seat in the history of Texas. And so then the word going around was a Republican can win a special election, but they can never win a general election. And this past Tuesday, we kind of squelled that rumor or myth, because I ended up winning, and I am now the state representative winning the general election.
And District 118, that's more the south side, San Antonio, a little bit of the northeast side, is it?
All of South Bear, all through East Bear County, and you're right, up into Universal City, all the way to Selma, all up in that area.
In the Bear County. Yeah.
All in Bear County.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about leadership, right? That's what we wanted to really interview you. Is what would your definition of leadership be?
Man, I tell you what, I'm blessed, and I think true leadership, and I've learned this through my Christian walk, right? True leadership is being a true servant. And I really believe when you're a true servant, a passionate servant of God, of our Lord Jesus Christ, and doing well with others, I think just by doing that, you fall into a zone or blessings that God just really, really blesses tremendously. So I'm excited about that. That happened almost through my whole life. And then when I got into that, getting into a leadership role in business and beginning to lead teams, caring about the employees really, really first, caring about our customers, made it very, very powerful.
So to sum it up or to simplify, your definition of leadership is to be a servant.
Servant, yes, a servant to both employees and your customers.
And then I know we talked about, next question was leadership qualities, servanthood. What other leadership qualities would you say a good leader should have?
I think you gotta be passionate about what you're doing, and if you're passionate about it, praying for God, give me that wisdom. And I think that wisdom really comes. What I'm really love about, passionate about, is listening, and then saying, God, give me wisdom to do the right things and say the right things.
That's good. So You're saying servanthood. You're saying wisdom. You're saying being a good listener. Those are all qualities of a good leader. Uh, you have any training in leadership?
I don't have any formal training. A lot of it would be life lessons. My biggest training is and this really has helped me so much to be a good leader, is I teach Sunday school, high school, Sunday school.
Middle school.
And even though I was running for office and the pastor might say, hey, you know what, you want to take off while you're in? I said, no, man, that's the key thing that really kept me grounded the most. And just going into God's word and doing that is what I think was the biggest thing for me. I read a lot of leadership books, but there's nothing like love and compassion that you have for people that's going to make you a good leader.
Is working with others, life experiences has really molded your leadership. Yes. How would you define ethics? Business ethics, Christian ethics, stuff like that.
Well, and you and I have talked about this before, right? It's doing the right things at all times. But one of the sayings that I give to our youth and everything is that we don't allow circumstances to compromise our convictions. And if you can really think about that and live by that, not allowing circumstances to compromise our convictions, I think that's probably one of the best ways to actually define what a true leader is going to do. Because that's easy said, but it's hard to live by. It's challenging to live by.
Yeah, I like that saying because you can use it in business and in Christian.
And in your Christian walk.
So that's really good. So what is the process you make in an ethical decision?
In an ethical decision, I'm gonna and I don't want to sound corny, but I really mean this, especially now as a state rep. I'm going into a session where we'll be starting in January. Got my team, so I'm going back to work now. I'm actually working full time. And I'm just doing a lot of soul searching at home, saying, God, give me wisdom, because I don't have all the answers. God, give me wisdom to do and say the right things. God, give me wisdom to network and get a collaboration of people together, like-minded people, and help me see what's good, what's not good. So I think the very, very first thing is prayer. That's the most important thing. And then the other thing is, man, just doing the right things at all times. Because doing the right things when it's easy is easy. But when you got challenges or it's tough, that's when the true leadership, I think, comes out, because you got to do it at all times.
Yeah, that's really good, because you're making an ethical decision. You want to be at peace with it, right?
Right.
So best way to have peace is to pray about it, and really, don't go against what your gut is telling you, right? Type deals. Now, does a leader? I know you probably work with a bunch of leaders. Does a leader need to use ethics, in business?
Yes, and I say 100% yes. And here's one thing I'm really, really proud of. I lead a sales team and I lead a recruiting team. And a lot of times they'll come to me and say, man, this incident just happened in the workplace and it's really bad. And here's what I'm going to say. Boom, 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 boom. And those things aren't true. And I say, no, let's back up a little bit. Let's say this, and this. Because, yeah, but man, they were admitting fault. And let me just tell you the big picture of doing that, going through that exercise and doing the right thing, that customers now begin to like us even more, because we're not always going to be perfect. There are going to be mistakes. But what I want people to understand is that when there is a mistake, that company, YNL Consulting, they come to the table. Number one, they tell us what happened. They tell us if they're at fault also, and then they make it right. We actually grow because of problems and ethical issues we might have had in the past. When you do the right thing, the big picture, man, you shine because you do the right thing. That's a blessing of God. And if we can live like that all the time, even through the tough times, at the end, you receive God's blessings.
Yeah, so you're learning as you go, but learning from your mistakes and trying to change the way you do business.
Amen.
So I just have a couple more questions. Can you give an example of making ethical decisions? Any difficult situation, say with an employee, something like that, where you had to make the tough decision, but you knew that it was the right decision, even though maybe it was a good employee of yours or something like that.
We just had one not too long ago when I was at the office. A guy came to me and we were doing some staff augmentation for a large company here in San Antonio. And it fell through, and he wanted to use some excuses. I don't even know what excuse. He had like 3 or 4. Man, maybe we can tell him this, we can tell him that. And I went up to him and I said, hey man, come in my office, and we talked. I said, why don't we just tell him the truth? Tell them that we had some difficulties here, and this is what the true thing that happened with that guy. But tell them, because of all this, we're gonna cut down the rate, and we're gonna do some things. It made the story so much easier for him, but also for us, because then we don't have to go and remember everything. Because when you start lying or saying fibs like that, now you've got to remember all that. And Hector, I don't have a good memory to begin with, so if I'm gonna go try to remember those things, that's hard. So you do the right thing, and man, so then after all of that happened, that guy came back to me and said, man, that manager has all the utmost respect for me because I came. Those are blessings of God when we're doing the right things in the difficult times.
Yeah, and then if you keep lying, then you gotta lie again and lie to
Yeah,
cover it up and
yeah.
cover it up. So it's better just to be honest. And I like the way you actually gave a discount on the rates and stuff like that, because you knew that, you know, we didn't do this
We had
right,
a
but we
different
want to
motive.
make it right.
Yeah,
So that's
exactly.
really good. Well, John, I appreciate your time. You know, I know we only had 10 questions, and I appreciate your time. I know you're busy, you know, being a state representative, being a leader, you know, business leader with 600 people, and man, we wish you all the best and thank you for your time today.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Thank you.